What's up guys, my name is Dre and welcome to another Genshin Impact video. Today I want to talk about the most underrated 4-star characters that are in the community or around people that are like not too popular to use. And I want to give you a little bit more input that why these characters actually aren't that bad like they used to be. So now let's just hop into the first character that I like to show you, which is Noelle. So in my eyes, I do think that she is like one of the characters that is one of the more characters that is very unpopular and nobody really likes her. She is technically free to play because you get her guaranteed in the beginner banner. So usually everybody should have one copy of Noelle. And the reason why Noelle is so underrated is that because on the one hand of her type and of her kit. So in general, I just want to say that in this game, there is like no real optimal build, and tier lists are still very subjective, and everything that you do in the game is still very subjective if you watching these videos, and even I'm like one of these types of videos. But these are my thoughts, what I do think. And let's hop into the character now. The main thing with Noelle is she doesn't put out too much damage because she scales a lot with defense, but still she does scale with attack. So breastplate is her E ability. So summons a protective stone armor dealing geo damage, so it does apply the effect, which actually is not too impactful at the moment because geo is not too strong. And the shield's damage absorption scale based on Noelle's defense. So it means that her ability scales the more defensive stats you have. So when Noelle's normal and charge attacks hit a target, they have a certain chance to regenerate HP. So this is the first thing that's actually bad on her. She relies on RNG to heal your characters, and just for a small amount, while let's say Jean guarantees to heal with every hit that she is doing. And so overall kit doesn't seem too strong looking at that, but the reason why I do think that she is underrated is of her constellation. You are very likely to pull copies in the future of Noelle because she is one of the characters that will be featured in Klee's banner that will come out next week on Monday. So by the time you watch this video, her banner will be out on the 19th of October, where Klee is featured and Noelle is raid up. So maybe you will pull some additional copies, maybe you already have some additional copies, and you will get some of the constellations if you pull dupes for her. Constellations are still very huge in the game, and they will make a huge difference for gameplay. Another thing is Zhongli, if you guys don't know, is a lead character, which is a geo-type element character which can deal additional elemental reactions with geo-type characters. So he will boost this element for sure. Even if he is like not the top tier character, he will definitely be impactful for the element. And now let's go into the constellation for Noelle. So if you have one dupe, you can trigger the breastplate healing effect to be 100%. So this is actually the effect that we just talked about. It is the healing effect, which just has a certain chance. I don't know if there is the percentage for the certain chance, but I do think it wasn't that high. So, but it doesn't really matter now. If you have one dupe, you can put it to guarantee. So this is not too exciting because this actually triggers the effect that, as I already mentioned, Jean has for sure. But pulling another dupe will decrease the stamina consumption of Noelle's charge attacks by 20% and increase her charge attack by 15%. So this is a big damage buff by 35% for her charged attacks. And also you have a much lower stamina consumption. So this is actually really good. Next thing is increase the level of breastplate by 3. So yeah, this is not, I would say, this is pretty solid, but not too impactful. But now it gets interesting. So if you are able to pull her 4th dupe, Noelle will be very, very good. So I want to say that in the current state of the game, Noelle is trash. So that's at least what I do think. She is not too usable. So if you have a Claymore user, a two-handed weapon user, you would use her over Noelle. Just because of the fact that she is a Geotype element character. But the 4th dupe is huge. If you are able to get the 4th dupe, Breastplate's duration expires or it is destroyed by damage, it will deal 400% attack of geo damage to surrounding enemies. So this is a AoE ability which will deal with a 400% multiplier. So guys, there is not too much characters in the game that have such a high multiplier. So Breastplate will be a very strong ability if you are able to have 4 dupes on your Noelle. And also, elemental reactions with Geo are pretty easy to build. It's just that at the moment, it is hard to use the Geo element to combine them with your elements. But in the future, you should take a look at Noelle, and she is not that bad like you might thought. Yeah, but actually that's everything that I wanted to say to Noelle. Let's go with the next character, which I picked Bennett. I think there are still a couple of people which do think Bennett is not that bad. In my eyes, he is a very solid support character for the fire type element. So if you like to use her over Amber, you can do it, but I wouldn't use him over Xiangling or Diluc. So he can really apply a lot of cool things. So Bennett puts all his fire and passion for adventuring into his sword. Results may vary based on how fired up he is. A single swift flame strike that deals pyro damage. So his E ability easily applies the pyro damage, and charge ups resulting in different effects when unleashed based on the charge level. So you can just like charge the attack and deal a bigger amount of damage. So he easily can apply the pyro damage just with his E ability, which usually every character in the game is doing, so not something that is too exciting. But I think this is the more interesting part of him. Bennett leaps towards the enemy and performs a plunging attack, dealing pyro damage, creating an inspiration field. Inspiration field is usually a field, obviously, that when your character stands in has some effects, and the effects are here. If the health of a character in the circle is equal to or falls below 70%, the health will continuously regenerate. Regeneration scales based on Bennett's max HP. So talking about this, I would say this is a worse version of Barbara's ultimate or Jean's ultimate, and 70% is still very easy to achieve if you aren't too advanced, if your characters are not too built up in the game. It is still very easy to get the regeneration effect. If the health of a character in the circle is higher than 70%, they gain a bonus attack that is based on Bennett's base attack. So the big thing for that is you are able to play Bennett in two versions, but he will still end up as a supporter, because the ultimate is a very nice ability in my eyes. You can go for the healing ability, or you can go for the attack bonus ability. Hybrid one I wouldn't recommend, so I would highly recommend to specify either on the heal or on the base attack buff. In my eyes, I would say that the attack buff does make a lot more sense. So you can trigger the pyro element for your elemental reaction, then you can apply the bonus buff, and then you can use another healer, example Barbara, Jean or Kiki, if you have one of these 3 characters. And then I would use these characters to apply a additional elemental character or a additional elemental effect. And yeah, that's the reason why I would use Bennett. So I don't want to go too deep in the constellations of Bennett. Bennett is not a raid up character at the moment, so you will most likely only have 1 copy of him. Using him as a support will be very, very good, or not as bad as you thought. The next character, on the last character for the video, is Sucrose. Yes, guys, Sucrose is actually one of the better characters. He is very, very underrated in my eyes. I would say in the community he is stated as the venti that is worse, or the low budget venti, or whatever you want to call him. But let me explain why I do think Sucrose is super strong and he doesn't deserve the C tier on this website at all. By the way, I'm on Genshin.gg. We'll put the link in the description down below if you guys don't know the website. There are a lot of good informations provided. And yeah. So the big thing that I was looking for is Sucrose is his special ability is his elemental mastery. This is the thing that you want to play and you want to use with him. While Venti's special ability in my eyes is energy recharging. So you want to use his ultimate as often as possible to trigger as much as possible elemental reactions. So technically they are doing the same, but Sucrose can deal a very high amount of damage, while Venti just provides a lot of utility to the team. So let me explain that with the abilities. Creates a small wind spirit that deals a Nemo damage to enemies in a AoE, pulling them towards the location to the wind spirit before launching them. So obviously this will apply his element, which is a Nemo, which every character does, like I explained, and it will give you some control while you pull them into the location. Sucrose holds an unstable concoction that creates a large wind spirit. While it persists, the large wind spirit will continuously pull and launch nearby enemies during AoE enemy damage, and then you can trigger all these contacts and it will deal additional damage of that if you can put an elemental reaction out of these. So this will be additional to your usual elemental reaction. Then there was another thing that I'd like to show. It is on his passive there. These are the two most interesting things that I like to show with Sucrose, why he is so underestimated. And when Sucrose triggers a swirl effect, which he does with his E and with his ultimate, characters in the party with the matching element have their elemental masteries increased by 50 for 8 seconds. So you can increase the elemental mastery without doing really anything besides the swirl by 50. Additionally, when a stable and normal hypostasis creation 6-8, yeah, this is actually his E or his ultimate. So yeah, this is the ability. A stable and normal hypostasis, forbidden creation, isomer, blah blah blah. If you use them and you hit the enemy, it increases other party members' elemental mastery based on 20% of Sucrose elemental mastery. So this means the more elemental mastery you have, the more you can increase your party members' elemental mastery without building elemental mastery with them. So if you guys don't know how elemental mastery works or why elemental mastery can be so important, is if you trigger a reaction, for example with electro and ice, you will get superconduct, and superconduct triggers the last character that triggers the superconduct is dealing the elemental mastery damage, and the last character that will hit after you used Sucrose abilities will gain the buff. So let's say you activate Sucrose, you activate his ability, then you go into Barbara, trigger her water effect, then you go into Changyeon, and then you have the ice effect with the so you can have the freeze effect over the water effect, and you will gain a additional damage bonus if you change in your Changyeon and use your E ability. So in addition to that, you will get this one because you use the swirl effect, and then you swapped into Barbara, you triggered a elemental reaction, and then you swapped into Changyeon, which will end up in the combo for the elemental reaction damage that you deal at the end, and then you can trigger this effect and this effect. So you will get at least 50 elemental mastery plus the 20% from Sucrose elemental mastery that he has, which will give you, I can promise you, a ton of damage with a very, very easy part to do. And just building him elemental mastery will increase his damage of his abilities. So yeah, unfortunately for today's video I didn't have any gameplay, but I can't promise you guys, if I pull Sucrose, I can do a showcase for him, because I really do think he is a very nice, very good, well-rounded character, and he doesn't deserve to be like called the worst wind character, the worst anemo character in the game. Yeah, that was just the looks, the thing that I want to explain for the most underrated 4-star characters in the game. And yeah, I hope I could help you out with this, and if you guys enjoyed, subscribe to my channel for more Genshin Impact content, and if you guys do, then hit that like button. No, that's everything that I want to say, and I see you guys next time. If you guys want to see more Genshin Impact content, videos should pop up on the screen right now. Make sure to check them out, and thank you for your support.